I never imagined retirement would bring me here, standing in my own lake house at midnight, watching my daughter toast champagne with a real estate agent while my wife cried alone in the bedroom. Yet, after 32 years as fire chief in Thunder Bay, that's exactly where I ended up. Decades of instinct, the kind that makes you double-check smoke alarms or come home early when something feels off, had led me here. It was meant to be Thanksgiving week. Margaret and I had built our life together piece by piece. She'd taught second grade for nearly 3 decades, and I'd worked my way up from rookie firefighter to chief. When I finally retired at 60 that spring, we thought we'd earned some peace. The lake house wasn't much when we bought it 25 years ago, a small, worn-down cabin on Lake Superior, but I rebuilt it myself. Every deck board, every window frame, every inch of it had a story. Margaret made it a home, planting the garden and choosing every colour. This was supposed to be the place where our grandkids would learn to fish, where we'd grow old watching sunsets over the water. I drove up from Thunder Bay on Tuesday night, 3 days before Thanksgiving. My retirement party had been cancelled last minute for some budget meeting. That was fine with me. I'd never liked being in the spotlight. Margaret had come Monday with our daughter Jessica and her husband Marcus to prepare the house. Our son Tyler and his family were due Thursday. The 3-hour drive through November darkness was long, and though I called Margaret twice, there was no answer. Nothing strange given the poor reception out there. Still, something in me stirred. After 3 decades of reading smoke patterns, you know when dangers close. When I pulled into the gravel drive at 10:30, the place was lit up like Christmas. Odd. Margaret was usually in bed by 9. I grabbed my overnight bag and started toward the door, frost crunching beneath my boots. Then I heard it. Laughter, loud and carefree, coming from the back deck. Underneath it, faint sobbing. I didn't go through the front door. Old habits die hard. You learn to assess from every angle. Circling to the back, I stayed in the shadows. The deck overlooked the lake. 3 figures stood in the porch light. Jessica, her dark hair catching the glow. Marcus, tall and animated with a champagne glass, and an older man in an expensive suit I didn't recognize. "To the new Lake Superior Resort and Spa," Marcus declared. "This place will make us a fortune. Prime waterfront, nothing like it." The stranger sounded doubtful. "And your parents? They won't be an issue?" Jessica's voice, cool, unfamiliar, cut through the air. "Dad's 60. Mom's slipping. She forgot to pay the utilities last month. He's missing appointments. We've got documentation. The memory clinic appointment's Friday." My stomach dropped. Memory clinic? What were they talking about? The stranger pressed, "And the paperwork." "Already done," Marcus said smoothly. "Power of attorney for both health and finances. Once the assessment shows decline, it's a formality. We'll be their legal guardians. They'll move into assisted living in Thunder Bay. We'll handle development." The stranger hesitated. "Everyone wins, except them." "They won't even notice in a few years," Jessica replied. "This is for their own good. They shouldn't live out here alone anymore." I'd faced burning buildings, wrecks, and death itself, but nothing prepared me for hearing those words from my own daughter. I stepped onto the deck. "Their age? I'm 60, Jessica, not 90. They froze. Jessica's face went pale. "Dad, we weren't expecting you until Thursday." "Clearly." I looked at each of them. "Someone want to explain what I just heard?" Marcus recovered first, as always. 4 years ago, when Jessica brought him home, I'd done my research. Smooth talker, failed entrepreneur, 3 times over, but Jessica loved him and I'd kept quiet. Now that silence felt like a mistake. "Bob, good to see you," he said, extending a hand. I didn't take it. "We were just discussing investment options for the property." "My property," I said. "The one I built while you were still in diapers." "Dad, please," Jessica said softly, setting her glass down. "We need to talk. Mom's not doing well." "Really? Because I just heard you say she's fine enough to be forced out of her home." "She forgot to pay the utilities," Jessica argued, voice rising. "The power almost got shut off. What if that happened in winter? You could have frozen to death." I paid the bill 3 weeks ago, online, like I do every month. My tone stayed steady. 32 years of command had taught me that. "Try again." The stranger cleared his throat. "Perhaps I should go." "No," I said. "Who are you?" "Donald Breenidge, real estate development." He looked uneasy. I didn't realize. Well, I'll leave you to your family discussion. He hurried off, his car headlights cutting through the trees as he sped away. Marcus's jaw tightened. You're being unreasonable. We're trying to help you. Help me out of my home? You're 60, Bob. How long can you manage this place? The winters alone. I was rescuing people from fires 6 months ago, I said evenly. I think I can handle a furnace filter. Jessica's eyes softened briefly. Just for a moment, I saw my little girl again. Then it was gone. It's not just the house, Dad, she said quietly. It's Mom. She's been confused, forgetful. Last week, Margaret forgot what day it was, or so Jessica claimed, but I remembered it clearly. It was Saturday and Margaret had joked about it. She's in denial, Jessica said, and so are you. Marcus took a step closer, but I stood my ground. We've been seeing signs for months, he continued. Missed bills, confusion, memory problems. We've already scheduled a cognitive assessment. Cancel it, I said. We can't, Marcus replied firmly. We won't. You might not see it, but we do. And when the results come back the way we expect, we'll have the legal right to make decisions for you both, for your safety. Then I heard it again, the crying, louder this time, coming from inside. I pushed past them and went down the hall to the master bedroom. The door was closed, light spilling from beneath it. Margaret? No answer, only sobs. I opened the door. She sat on the edge of the bed, still dressed from earlier, her face red and streaked with tears. When she looked up, fear filled her eyes. Bob, you're here. Why? Party got cancelled. What's wrong, love? Why are you crying? She stood shakily and I went to her side. I don't know what's happening, she said. Jessica gave me papers to sign, said they were for our protection, but they're not. They give her control over everything, the house, our accounts, our medical care. When I refused, she got angry. She said I wasn't capable anymore, that I'm losing my mind. You're not losing anything, I told her. How do you know? Her voice broke. What if she's right? I forgot what day it was, and I couldn't find my keys yesterday. You joked about Saturday, and your keys were in your coat pocket, like always. I held her shoulders. Look at me, Margaret. There's nothing wrong with you. Then why would Jessica say that? She whispered. That was the real question. I helped her sit down, then locked the bedroom door. Voices carried from the living room, angry ones. Stay here, I told her. I'll handle this. When I walked back out, Jessica and Marcus were whispering. They straightened the moment they saw me. She's not signing anything, I said. Dad, you're not thinking clearly, Jessica argued. I'm thinking clearer than I have in weeks, I replied, sitting in my armchair from Thunder Bay. Let me guess. Marcus has financial problems. Gambling, maybe. You're desperate. You saw this property and thought you could fix it all by having us declared incompetent, taking control of our assets, and selling the house. Marcus's face reddened. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because I heard your plan on the deck. Lake Superior Resort and Spa. Nice touch. We're trying to save you from yourselves. Jessica's voice rose. You're too old to be living here alone, too old to handle your own affairs. Maybe that assessment is exactly what you need. Something in me shifted then. A last hope that this was all a misunderstanding, gone. Get out, I said. Excuse me. Out of my house, now. Marcus actually laughed. We're not going anywhere. In fact, we've got documents for you too. Transfer of property to a family trust, durable power of attorney. Standard for your age. I'm 60, Marcus, not senile. That's not what the doctor's report says. He pulled a folder from his jacket. Memory issues, confusion, poor judgment, all signs of early decline. We've been documenting it. What doctor? I haven't seen one. Dr. Raymond Chen, elder care specialist. We consulted him last month. I stood and took the folder. Professional letterhead, detailed notes, recommendations. It looked real, except for one thing. This is dated October 15th, I said. I was fishing with Tyler from the 10th to the 20th. I wasn't even in the province. Try again. Marcus froze for a moment, just long enough to reveal the lie. Must be a typo, he muttered. Must be fraud, I said, setting the folder down. Last chance. Leave now, or I call the police. On what grounds? He scoffed. Attempted theft, fraud, elder abuse. Take your pick. Jessica's composure broke. Dad, please, we're not trying to hurt you. We're in trouble. Marcus owes money a lot. These people aren't the kind you say no to. We thought if we could develop the property, sell it quickly, we could pay them back. Nobody would get hurt. So, you were going to steal your mother's home? I asked quietly. The house we built together, the place you grew up, where your kids were meant to make their own memories. You were going to forge documents and sell it to cover his debts. We weren't going to hurt anyone, Jessica cried. I heard Margaret earlier, I said. She's barely coherent. What did you give her? Marcus shifted uneasily. Just something to calm her down. She got upset about the papers. That was all I needed to hear. I took out my phone. What are you doing? Jessica asked. Calling my son. Tyler's not coming until Thursday. He is now. I dialed. Tyler, I need you at the lake house. Bring your laptop. Dad, it's almost 11. What's going on? Your sister and her husband are trying to steal the house. I need your help. A pause. I'll be there in 2 hours. Don't let them touch anything. I hung up. Jessica was crying again, real tears this time, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Tyler's bringing evidence, I said, of everything you've done. Then we're going to the police. There's no evidence, Marcus said, but his voice shook. You sure about that? Tyler's been concerned about you for months. He's been looking into things. That was a bluff, but it landed. Marcus went pale. Dad, please, Jessica sobbed. If we don't pay this debt, they'll hurt Marcus. They've already made threats. His business partner, something happened to him. We're scared. Then you go to the police, I said. You don't steal from your parents. We tried, Jessica said quietly, but without proof of the threats, there's nothing the police can do. And Marcus's partner won't talk. He's too scared. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. When had she become someone capable of this? When had desperation turned her into a person who could drug her own mother? How much do you owe? I asked. 200,000, Marcus muttered. I sat back. What? He ran a hand through his hair. It started at the casino. I had a system, it worked for a while. Then it didn't. I tried to win it back. The people I borrowed from aren't patient. So you decided to fix your mistake by destroying your wife's parents, I said evenly. You plan to put us in a facility, have us declared incompetent, and take everything we built without asking, without consent. Margaret appeared in the doorway, gripping the frame for balance. Jessica, tell me he's wrong. Tell me you wouldn't do that to us. Jessica couldn't meet her mother's eyes. Oh, baby, Margaret whispered. I could almost hear her heart break. The next 2 hours dragged on. I made strong coffee. Margaret sat at the kitchen table, crying quietly. Jessica and Marcus whispered on the couch. I stayed in my chair, phone within reach. Marcus tried to leave once. I blocked the door. We're not prisoners, he said. You're not guests either, I replied. You stay until Tyler gets here. And then what? Arrest us? Jessica's your daughter. Jessica drugged her mother and tried to steal our home, I said. That changes things. Headlights flashed across the windows around 1:30. Tyler came through the door with his wife Sarah right behind him. Dad? He hugged me tight. Are you okay? Is Mom? We're managing, I said, nodding toward the couch. They're still here. Tyler looked at Jessica. Something passed between them. Cold, final. Jess, what the hell? Stay out of this, she snapped. Stay out of you stealing Mom and Dad's house? I don't think so. He opened his laptop. I've been tracking you both for 3 months, since I heard about Marcus's business problems. Want to see what I found? Marcus stood up. You had no right. Sit down. Tyler said sharply. Casino records. $247,000 in losses over 18 months. Money borrowed from known loan sharks. Threats documented in your email. 3 previous attempts to borrow from family. Denied. And this. He turned the laptop around. The fake Dr. Chen. Turns out he's a chiropractor in Winnipeg. I called him. He's never heard of either of you and wants to know who's using his letterhead for fraud. Jessica made a sound somewhere between a sob and a gasp. There's more, Tyler continued. The memory clinic you booked for Mom? Doesn't exist. The elder care attorney Marcus mentioned? An actor from Toronto, does corporate videos. I found his payment in Marcus's account. And those incident reports about Mom's confusion? I checked the utility bills myself. Paid on time for 3 years straight. As for the power of attorney documents, a real lawyer reviewed them. They're illegal in Ontario. Anyone signing them would lose all legal rights with no way to reverse it. How did you even get all that? Marcus demanded. I'm a database analyst for the provincial government, Tyler replied. It's my job to find information and to package it for law enforcement. Jessica's voice cracked. We were desperate. You were criminal, Tyler said flatly. There's a difference. If Marcus was in danger, there were legal options. You chose this. Tyler, please, Jessica said, standing. He's my husband. I love him. I couldn't let anything happen to him. So you were going to let something happen to Mom and Dad instead? Silence fell, heavy, final. I stood. I'm calling the police. Wait, Marcus said quickly, raising his hands. What if we leave now? We'll disappear. You'll never see us again. And the people you owe, I asked. I'll handle it. Just don't call the police, please. Jessica will lose her license. She'll have a record. Her life will be over. She should have thought of that before she drugged my wife, I said. Margaret spoke softly from behind me. What did you give me? Jessica stared at the floor. Sleeping pills. Crushed into your tea. You were upset about the papers. And Marcus said, if I just slept for a while, you could forge my signature. Margaret finished for her. We wouldn't have needed to if you'd just listened to reason, Jessica murmured. Reason? Margaret's voice steadied. Reason would have been talking to us, asking for help, not drugging me and stealing our home. You're my daughter. I would have done anything to help you, but you didn't trust me enough to ask. Jessica broke down, real tears this time, but I was past caring. I picked up my phone and dialed 911. I need to report attempted theft and elder abuse, I said. Marcus lunged at me. Tyler grabbed him, forcing him back onto the couch. Sarah pulled out her phone and started recording. Don't move, Tyler warned. Everything you do is evidence now. The OPP arrived about 45 minutes later. Officer Patricia Devo, mid-40s, sharp and composed, took statements from everyone separately. She reviewed Tyler's evidence, examined the forged documents, and called her supervisor. By 4 a.m., Marcus was in handcuffs. Mr. Chen, you're under arrest for fraud, attempted theft, and administering a harmful substance. You have the right to remain silent. Jessica wasn't arrested, at least not yet. But Officer Devo made it clear before leaving, you're not off the hook, Miss Chen. The investigation was underway, and the officer advised Jessica to get a lawyer. Marcus was taken away, leaving Jessica at our kitchen table, devastated. You should go, Margaret said softly. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know, Margaret replied, but you still need to leave. Jessica walked out. We heard her car start and fade into the cold November night. Tyler stayed. He and Sarah set up the guest room, and the four of us watched the sunrise over Lake Superior. I never wanted this, I said quietly. I just wanted peace in our old age. I know, Dad, Tyler replied, placing a hand on my shoulder. We'll get through it. We'll protect what you've built. The following weeks passed in a blur. Marcus was officially charged with fraud, identity theft, attempted theft, and drugging Margaret. Jessica avoided criminal charges, but her real estate board launched an investigation, suspending her license. The real Dr. Chen from Winnipeg was furious about his name being used and threatened legal action. The Toronto actor cooperated with police in exchange for immunity. He thought he'd been hired for a corporate video, unaware of the scheme. The people Marcus supposedly owed money to never appeared. Tyler discovered that most of the debt was legitimate casino losses, not loans from dangerous individuals. The threats Marcus described were actually legal: lawsuits, bankruptcy, wage garnishment, not violence. He had exaggerated everything to manipulate Jessica, and she had sacrificed her family over a lie. The trial took place in January. Margaret and I testified, and Tyler presented his findings. The prosecutor was methodical, and Marcus's defense couldn't counter the overwhelming evidence of deliberate fraud. Marcus received a 5-year federal sentence, with no parole for at least 3. The judge cited the vulnerability of the victims and the betrayal of family trust. Jessica wasn't imprisoned, but her punishment was real. She permanently lost her real estate license, filed for divorce, and as part of a restorative justice program, was required to issue a public apology. It took place at the Thunder Bay Town Hall in February during a community meeting on elder abuse prevention. Margaret and I sat in the front row. Jessica stood at the podium, trembling. My name is Jessica Harrison Chen, she began. 6 months ago, I drugged my mother and tried to steal my parents' home to pay my husband's gambling debts. The room fell silent. She continued, I told myself I was helping them, that they were too old to make decisions. But the truth is, I wanted their home and their money. Instead of asking for help, I tried to destroy them. Her voice wavered. My father is 60 years old, a firefighter and former chief, who saved countless lives. My mother taught for nearly 3 decades, shaping young minds, and I drugged her. I can't undo what I did or the betrayal I caused. Elder abuse doesn't just happen to strangers. It happens within families, when desperation leads to terrible choices that ruin everything. She looked directly at us. Mom, Dad, I know you can't forgive me. I know I broke something that can't be fixed. I just want you to know I understand what I did, and I'll spend my life trying to be better than the person I was. When she finished, no one clapped. The silence was heavy and final. We didn't approach her. That night, in our Thunder Bay apartment, Margaret cried, not for Jessica's pain, but for what we had lost. She's our daughter, she whispered. How did we not see it? We trusted her, I said. That's not failure. That's what parents do. Should we forgive her? She asked. I don't know, I said. Maybe someday, but not today. Tyler and Sarah began visiting twice a week with their children. The noise and laughter filled our small apartment. We taught them cards, read stories, and planned for summer at the lake house. In March, a letter from Jessica arrived. I held it for a long time. Aren't you going to open it? Margaret asked. Not today, I said. Maybe not ever. That weekend, Tyler drove us back to the lake house. The ice on Lake Superior was breaking. Spring was near. We stood on the deck, the same place where I'd overheard Jessica's betrayal. We could sell, Margaret said quietly. Start somewhere new. No, I said, putting an arm around her. We built this with love and work. No one takes that from us, not Jessica, not Marcus. Tyler came out with his kids, bundled against the cold. Can we go to the beach, Grandpa? My granddaughter asked. Yes, but stay where I can see you, I replied. They ran off laughing. Tyler lingered. Jessica's been trying to reach me, he said. She wants to talk. That's your decision, I told him. She's your sister. What would you do? He asked. I watched my grandchildren playing by the water. I don't know, I said. Maybe one day I'll forgive her. Maybe I'll see her as my daughter again. But for now, I just want to appreciate what I have. This house, your mother, you, your family. That's enough. Margaret leaned into me. We survived, she said. We did, I replied. Will we be okay? I looked at the house, the garden waiting for spring, the dock where I'd teach my grandchildren to fish. Yeah, I said. We'll be okay. Thanksgiving arrived once more, almost a year since that November night. Tyler and Sarah came with the kids for the weekend. We cooked a full dinner, turkey, all of Margaret's usual sides, and pumpkin pies the kids helped make, covering the kitchen in flour. After dinner, while the kids played board games, Tyler showed me his phone. Jessica sent this, he said. It was a photo. Jessica, thinner, looking tired, working behind a counter at what seemed to be a cafe. The caption read, 9 months sober, in therapy 3 times a week, living with the consequences of my choices. I hope you're all well. Are you going to reply? I asked. I don't know. Should I? Margaret came over and looked at the picture. A mix of pain, sadness, and maybe the faintest trace of something softer passed across her face. That's for you to decide, Tyler, she said quietly. But don't let her mistakes ruin your relationship with her. She made terrible choices. She hurt us all deeply, but she's still your sister, and maybe someday she'll be someone we can know again. Not today, though, I said. No, Margaret replied, squeezing my hand. Not today. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I stepped out onto the deck. The November air was cold, much like it had been a year earlier, but everything else had changed. That night long ago had taught me something vital. The people you love most can cause the deepest pain. Trust is fragile. Age doesn't make you vulnerable. Trusting the wrong people does. But I'd also learned that you can survive betrayal. You can love someone from a distance while protecting yourself. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reunion, and the life you build through hard work can't be taken from you unless you surrender it. The lake stretched before me, dark and endless. Margaret came outside, draped a blanket over us both, and asked, "What are you thinking about?" "How lucky I am," I said, "despite everything." She smiled, kissed my cheek. Me too. We stood together, watching the stars shimmer across the water. For the first time in a year, I felt real peace. The house was still ours. The life we'd built remained untouched. And whatever became of Jessica, whatever road she chose, would be hers to walk. We had protected what mattered. We had endured, and sometimes that's enough.